So Glenn, the fan always comes out in me, and I love movies. My son loves movies, and I think of like a Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg. Do you have some experiences or some stories you could share with us? Because I love the behind the scenes type of stories our guests can bring to the listeners.
I do. I actually have stories with both of those gentlemen. I'll start with Quentin Tarantino. Probably 8 years ago ish, I was in Austin, Texas, doing my one-man program called The Extra Mile. And I was performing in a nice little venue that had an adjacent coffee house to it. And it was an afternoon matinee performance. And so I'm grabbing some chai latte on my way in. And I'm standing in line when I hear, Glenn. And I turn around because I'm in Austin. I'm not in my hometown. So I turn around and I look, and it's Quentin Tarantino.
And he has a very distinctive voice. So I'm sure you.
When I heard Glenn, I didn't connect the dots. Okay. I just looked to see who was calling my name, or maybe it was some other Glenn that was in line. I don't know. And I turned, and I must have done a triple take, like, that's weird. Quentin Tarantino is calling me by name in an Austin coffee house.
And he must have been there for Robert Rodriguez or something they were doing together, potentially.
I don't know why.
Okay.
I do now, but I didn't know why at the time. And he goes, hey, when you get your coffee, come sit with me. Okay, now it's getting interesting. And I grabbed my drink and I went over and sat down. He said, how are you, man? It's about time we met. And I said, hi. I said, what are you in town for? And he told me he was working with Robert. And he said, and I also, Austin's kind of a second home for me. I spent a lot of time here. I love the vibe of this city. And I saw in the newspaper that you were going to be here. So the reason I'm here, not in Austin, but the reason I'm here today is I'm here to see your show.
Wow, nice.
And I said, fantastic. He said, the reason I called you over is I wanted to give you a heads up so you didn't think I was rude. He said, I will be leaving halfway through your show. And I saw you had an intermission. I want you to know that I will be leaving at intermission and I won't be coming back. And I didn't want you to think I had walked out on your show. He said, I already had a commitment for today, but I had a window of opportunity to at least see the first half of it. And I'm genuinely curious what you're going to talk about today. So I told him anyway. He said, I said, it's a pleasure to meet you. We should work together at some point. He said, I have followed you for a long time. I said, what's a long time? And he said, how does Drive-In grab you?
Wow. Okay.
It's my first movie.
Yes.
1975. I have the lead in the film. And I said, you are buttering my toast. And he said, no, I mean it for real. I said, why would you have seen Drive-In? He said, it's a cult favorite, man. He said, I love that film. I've seen it multiple times. And then he started describing it. And he wasn't using Google. He was describing it with characters and all that. I thought, son of a gun, you are a fan of the film. So we had a great discussion. Quentin loved the show. About 6 months later, I'm in Los Angeles. And a friend of mine says, dude, Drive-In is playing in a theater. Now, this is only 8 to 10 years ago. So this is long after its run, which was in the summer of 1976. Why is Drive-In in a movie theater? It's hard to get on tape even. And they said, yeah. And I thought, well, this is great for my kids. Certainly they've seen the movie, but they've only seen it on tape. They've never seen it on television, and they've never seen it on a big screen. So I got to take my family to see my first film. And when I go down there, I realize that it is at the Beverly Cinema, which is owned by Quentin Tarantino.
Wow.
Which is why it was playing there. And it was a really brand spanking new print of the film. So no old scratchy lines, no fatigue. Looked like we'd shot the movie last week. And I sent him a thank you note and left it in the box office. I said, thank you for your efforts to get a great brand new print of the film. So that was beautiful. The Spielberg story was just that Steven was the executive producer of all of the Transformer movies. And so even though he didn't direct them, he's certainly directly involved and looking at every inch of footage. And so he got to know me through my role of General Morshower on on the very first Transformers. And then he said to Michael, he said, you know, I want you to keep using him, and I understand why you chose him. And I only know this because Michael told me. Michael reached out and he said, you need to know that Steven really likes your work, and there's something specific he likes about it. And would you be interested in knowing? I said, well, of course. Who wouldn't want to know what Steven Spielberg likes about you? And he said, he loves your stillness.
Mm.
He said, your on-camera stillness is powerful. He also said, I've never seen someone not blink for long periods of time. And it's one of the things I teach my actors, is how to not blink for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. And he loved it. So he's gone on to put me in several things. And he was the one who got the say-so about the Transformers ride. That was up to Steven Spielberg. So when I opened the ride and they declared me to be the one that would do the opening, which was such an honor, I got there to Universal Studios in Hollywood, and this was in 2012, spring of 2012, and Steven Spielberg was standing there. And I said, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. He said, I'm here to watch you open our ride.
No
and
pressure.
I said, so you'll be up there with me? And he said, no, baby, this is your show. And I went, excuse me? And he goes, there's nobody else. This is you. You will be the only one up on stage. I thought it would be Michael Bay, president of Universal, and maybe the mayor of Los Angeles. Who knows? They gave me the microphone and said, have at it. And Steven was there. And I looked down and he's got his cell phone, and he's filming the event with his own cell phone. And I thought, this is kind of cool. So now we run into each other again in Orlando a year later when they opened the Orlando Transformers ride. And he said, hey, Glenn, Michael can't be here. He wanted to be here today, but he's shooting some movie. And why don't we make a video for Michael? And I said, sure. And he goes, I'll just do it with my cell phone. And I thought, I'm kind of in this moment, I'm kind of being directed by Steven Spielberg. You know, I mean, albeit it's his cell phone, but it's still Steven like this. And there is a great shot, which I can send you on YouTube, a moment where if you put Steven Spielberg and General Morshower, just put that, you will see it's the shot of Steven holding up, because some other fan took it. And I'm so grateful they did, because it's Steven holding his cell on one side of the screen, and I'm standing there talking to Michael Bay on the other. And it's just lovely. Listen, I've had so much excess in my life, Kyle. All that's left to do between now and my earthly departure is helping other people have their dreams come true, because mine already have.
Wow. Very powerful. Great story.